everybody! So we are here with our Reading Rush wrap-up. It was a great week. It was a busy week. But I think all of us found a little bit of success this week. So we're going to go through it challenge by challenge and see if you completed it or not. And just kind of chat about the books that we read. Sound good?
Yeah.
Alright, so the first challenge was to read a book with purple on the cover.
I did. I read Wondersmith by Jessica Townsend, and it was fantastic. It was so page-turnery, so good, so much fun. I loved it. I give it 5 stars.
Do you like it more, as much as, less?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. And that's saying a lot. Because Nevermore is so good as well. On par with each other and both fantastic.
How can it be better than Nevermore?
Right?
So exciting.
Yeah. I really, really enjoyed all the stuff that we learned. And they go to school.
Oh, yeah.
You get to go to, they have classes and...
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. It was excellent.
Woohoo!
Woohoo, purple!
What did you read?
I read Arsha and the End of Time. I've been wanting to read this for so long, and I finally got to finish it, and it was so good. I'm obsessed with it.
It's so much fun. Just so much fun.
So much fun. I want to be Aru. Like, I just related on so many ways, like, with her and in this book.
What is the pigeon's name again?
They call her
Boo.
Boo, or him Boo. But the pigeon's like long name is Subalu. Subala.
Boo is like my favorite.
Oh.
I love Boo.
Oh yeah. I thought like, so you know, who's the bird in Aladdin?
Iago?
Iago. I like really had his voice for Boo, because he's like kind of grumpy and just like, you know, like really sarcastic and
doesn't really want to be there.
Yeah. And I was so surprised with how funny this book was. It was just like full of one-liners, and I'm like, this would make such a great movie.
It would. It totally would.
Yeah.
To your Hollywood.
Yeah.
To your Netflix.
Yeah.
Awesome. Mine was The Mighty Heart of Sunny St. James by Ashley Herring Blake. I loved this book so much. We all had great success with the books we loved, because this not only was just so well written, but it tackles a lot of like heavy topics without being too heavy. Like it tackled, like Sunny St. James at the beginning of the book, she has had a heart transplant. She has been abandoned by her mother, has been raised by her mother's friend, and she's also in denial about wanting. She wants to kiss girls, but she's like, no, I can only kiss boys. And it's just a great, it's a great friendship, a cute little, like, budding maybe romance.
Ooh.
And it was so good, and I think a lot of kids would, like, definitely relate to this one.
Nice.
But,
I want to read this now. Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
I really want to go read more of Ashley Herring Blake's books now, because she has a few, and if this one is any indication, she's an excellent writer.
Cool. Excellent.
So the second challenge was to read a book in the same spot the entire time.
Okay, so this went different than planned. My intention was to listen to the audiobook for The Hobbit in my favorite chair and like do some knitting and just be a nerd and chill out. But I did not expect to read a 521 page book in the same chair in 2 days.
Nice.
I think I read 85 pages on Friday, and then I read 350 pages on Saturday. And then I finished it on Sunday, all in my cozy little granny chair, and yeah, I just couldn't put it down. I had the opportunity to go out on Friday. We went out for lunch, met a friend. I'm like, okay, you guys are doing things, you go ahead. I'm gonna go home, and then I just sat on my butt and read a book. It was glorious.
That's awesome. Yay.
Yeah.
So what about you?
I read a graphic novel, the last volume 6 of the Descenders series. By Jeff Lemire, and it was really good. It was a good ending. Mixed reviews on good stuff. I really liked the ending. A lot of people didn't.
Fair enough.
But it really led up nicely to, so he's starting kind of like a sister series companion to the Descenders called The Ascenders, and as a female protagonist, which is really exciting, and it leads really well to that whole series, which is now, like, it's starting, like it just started, I think, recently. So.
And where did you read it?
I read it on my grass outside.
Nice.
Yeah.
I read Bingo Love by T. Franklin, and I read this on the last day of the readathon at like in the evening, and I read it on my couch like a boring person. But this was just so heartfelt. Like, I just loved it. It's about two women who, when back in the 60s, they met at a bingo hall and they fell in, no sorry, they met at a bingo hall, but then they kind of turned into like a teenage romance and they became the love of each other's lives. But then due to like stigma, and they weren't together. They each married different people, had different families, and then 50 years later, they meet again in the same bingo hall, and just like on impulse they kiss in the middle of the bingo hall, and it all kind of like takes off, their lives kind of take off from there, and it's just so sweet. I really beautiful. Loved it. And it like kind of explores, you know, how their families, you know, initial reaction, and then just, you know, obviously that's a shocking thing.
I like the artwork too.
It's really nice. Beautiful. Yeah, queer people of color, and actually this edition, which I didn't realize, is like a special edition, the jackpot edition, and the story is only half of this graphic novel. The second half is all other people's like contributions to the story, and I believe it was something for like Kickstarter, because I think this was a Kickstarter, like this got off the ground because of like a Kickstarter campaign.
Oh, but it's like published by Image.
Yeah.
Oh.
I could be wrong with that, but it was something. But there's other artists contributing to like other bits of the story.
Cool.
That's neat. Yeah.
That looks so nice.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
If you needed something to kind of lift you up, it's a good one. So the third challenge is a book you meant to read last year. Wondersmith.
Why did I wait so long? I'm like literally kicking myself. Like, I could have had like the best cozy winter read, you know.
But now you don't have to wait as long for the next one.
Exactly. The third one will be out soon, and then I could just dive back in, because it's, what a great series. It's definitely going to be an auto buy. There's no way I won't finish this.
After filming our TBR, I went and looked up when the next one's coming out. Yeah. It's next February. So not too much longer to wait.
At least it's less than a year.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
That's me.
A book I meant to read last year was She of the Mountains by Vivek Shreya. That was really good. Short read. Yeah, loved it. It's a kind of a queer coming of age love story, but weaved into it as like all these Hindu mythologies and stories, and it was really nice to read. Like, I grew up with a lot of these stories, so it was like kind of nice to read someone else's version of it and have it like recontextualized and re-said with like different perspectives, and it was really good. Yeah, nice. I highly recommend it.
Awesome. Yeah. I read, didn't have my pile in order, Ice Wolves by Amy Kaufman, and I loved it. This is a really fun middle grade story about twin siblings, what are their names? Raina and Anders, and in this world, special people can turn into ice wolves, but there's also dragons. And there's kind of, the ice wolves and the dragons don't see eye to eye, and there's like a war going on between them. Ice wolves assume that dragons are really bad people, and if you're related people one can't be a wolf and one can't be a dragon. That just doesn't happen. But surprise, surprise, at the beginning of the story, they find out that Anders is a wolf and Raina is a dragon. And yeah, so so Raina is chased away from the city by other dragons. Anders believes that she's going to be a sacrifice to the dragons. So Anders joins the League of the Ice Wolves, kind of reluctantly, because he wants to learn how to use this new ability and get his sister back. It was such a good adventure story, such a good friendship story, and I just loved it. And at the ending, I need to read the second book. Like, it was just so good. I love middle grade. And it was just, and like the love between the twins was just, I really loved it. I loved it way more than I thought I would, and I thought I would like it, but I'm so happy I decided to pick it up with a readathon.
Nice.
Alright, so fourth challenge is read an author's first book.
Right, so I didn't get to this challenge, but I was going to read Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman.
Right.
But yeah, I just couldn't get to it. Arshaw took me too long to read.
That's fine.
And I was trying to finish up some library books and stuff, so yeah.
So I did end up reading and very much enjoying The Hobbit. I listened to the audiobook, which was fantastic. The songs in it were really, really good and really well done.
Do they sing the songs?
They do.
That's fun.
Yeah, and there's a little like bits of music in some of their background parts of the story too. But I think my favorite part was that Gandalf is a surly old man. I know he's like sometimes grumpy in the movies and kind of like but Ian McKellen's character had like, you know, a bit of like sparkle in his eye and stuff. And in this, I was just like, whoa, dude, are you okay? You're grumpy. Like, I just loved his like no nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? Yeah, it was really good. The audiobook I highly recommend, and I'm glad I finally
You did it.
absorbed this story properly. Yeah.
I actually read 2 books for this by accident. The first one is one of my least favorite books I have ever read. And that is The Other Woman by Sandy Jones. This wasn't on my TBR. I picked it up because I always have to have like an audiobook on the go because what else am I going to do if I'm just walking somewhere? And this is the only audiobook I had at the time. I also really wanted to read it because Sally really didn't like it either, and it's kind of fun to like sometimes like hate read something and then like talk about it. But it was awful. 1 star. And the other debut I read was The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen, which actually as a filming comes out today. And this I did enjoy, thank goodness. But this, I had no idea what it was about going into it. And it's set in a world where there's 3 different castes. There are crows, there are hawks, and there are phoenix. And our main character is a crow, and crow are like the lowest caste of people. And it is their job to, if somebody gets the plague, to mercifully kill them. And the magic system in this is crows also have this magic system where they use people's teeth to do different things. So like crow teeth do certain things, and hawk teeth do certain things, and phoenix teeth do certain things. So it's like creepy because she has all these teeth in a bag, and like teeth have a lot of power.
That sounds so cool.
But I really liked it. And the love interest is pansexual, which is pretty fun. Yeah, I really liked it. It's a duology, and I will definitely be continuing on.
Nice.
Yeah, cool.
I loved hearing you talk about that while you were reading it, and now I really want to read it.
The Merciful Crow?
Yeah. Oh no, not The Other Woman.
Yeah.
I've heard enough about that to not read it.
That's fair. So the next challenge is to read a book with a non-human main character. Did I get that wrong?
Hobbitses.
Yes.
Hobbitses, lots of dwarves. Oh, I loved the dwarves. They were all so fantastic. And like, yeah, it was great. Yeah. I'll talk more about this later.
I forgot what mine was supposed to be because I didn't get through that either. Was it? I think it was a sequel to The Wild Robot.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so the book I was supposed to read was a sequel to The Wild Robot, which is The Wild Robot Escapes, I believe is what it's called. But alas, I didn't get through it.
And this challenge had me questioning humanity. I was like, what is a human? Because one I picked was Unnatural Creatures, which was a short story anthology curated by Neil Gaiman. I didn't read that, but a lot of people have been interpreting this challenge like quite loosely, and like if people can like turn into different things.
Ice Wolves.
Like, so I'm gonna use Ice Wolves, even though like they are still human. So it's like I also just finished one that didn't count for the readathon because I finished it the day after, but called The Monster of Elendhaven, and I'm like, but he's a monster, but he's also human. Like, so it's just, this challenge had me going way too deep. Alright, so the next challenge is to read a book that has 5 or more words in the title.
Nailed it. The Hobbit, or There and Back Again, and Wondersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow.
Woot woot.
Woot.
I was supposed to read I Think You're Wrong, But I'm Listening. It's this nonfiction book about a guide to grace-filled political conversations. I'm reading it right now. I read the first few chapters, and I really, really like it, but I didn't get through it. Yeah.
But
Arishon,
Arishon, the end of time.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It still counts.
Still counts that. Thanks, guys.
I went with, so obviously The Mighty Heart of Sunny St. James would work, but I went with The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. I was so pleasantly surprised by this book. It is about a girl named Paige who, a year ago, her boyfriend, who she had only known for a couple months, passed away in an accident, and kind of how her life is now defined by this person she didn't really know very well. And like she's more affected by his death than she was by his life.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And as a teenager especially.
Yeah.
So, but it was a really great story. It has a really cute nerdy boy named Max, who I just love, who's on like the Quiz Bowl team. I enjoyed Emery Lord's first 2 books, but I really liked this one. So happy I picked it up.
Nice.
That's
a
been on my
beautiful
TBR for a
cover.
long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been on my TBR for years. And I'm finally happy I got to it. And then the last challenge is to read and watch a book to movie adaptation.
Wow.
What did you think of the cartoon?
I watched the 1977 animated version of The Hobbit, and it was an experience.
So many people in the comments of our TBR video were like, Crystal, watch it.
What did I watch? Like, I think it's one of those things where I explained it to someone recently. It's like growing up watching The Goonies and then telling somebody who has never seen it as an adult to watch it, and they're like, what am I watching? I was like, kind of scarred for life. I feel like I maybe should have been having a few drinks while I was watching it. And some of my favorite parts were, and like favorite parts in the WTF kind of way of favorite parts, like, Gollum was like a melting frog kind of character. Like, I was like, what do you even look like? And then they were escaping from Goblin Town, and they were playing like this classic 70s action movie escape music. And I'm like, this was definitely made in the 70s.
Oh, that's so exciting.
And then when our troop stumbles across the trolls around the campfire in that scene, Gandalf isn't there. And at one point, Bilbo says, "Where the deuce is Gandalf?" I was like, whoa, excuse, that's not in the book. But it was very, very interesting to watch. I'm glad I watched it. It was definitely a memorable experience.
Oh, now I have to see this. This is so exciting.
When I was watching through the credits and stuff, though, a lot of the animators were Japanese. So when you kind of see it as like, almost like a Studio Ghibli anime kind of thing. Maybe not as like soft and polished as Studio Ghibli would be, but you can kind of see the character expressions and like the way they're designed. It kind of makes sense.
Okay.
But like, man, what?
Oh, so it's animated.
It's only like half an hour long. Like, it's not
Oh
very...
no, it's like an hour and a half.
Oh, is it? I thought
totally.
it was only like 40 minutes or something.
Oh no, man.
Oh.
I dedicated the time.
It's like, I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so.
Yeah, and things as a kid, you never know what times are.
For some reason I thought this was puppets, but I guess it's,
No, it's not like the Labyrinth of the Dark Crystal or
yeah.
something. It's full on animation.
Oh,
but
nice.
Did you watch anything?
No. I was gonna read Stardust and watch the movie. I've seen the movie before, but I didn't get around to it.
So I had the best of intentions. And there is a short story in this collection called Willa, and there is a horror short called Willa that they've just made, but they've just made it, and I didn't realize that, like, it's still on like the festival circuit, so you can't read it.
Can you watch the trailer?
I watched the trailer. I still didn't give myself the badge on the website, but I ended up listening to the entirety of this collection. I wouldn't recommend it, really. But the last story in here, was one of the worst things I have ever read in my entire life. I DNF'd it. So there's that. But yeah, I tried. I even sat down and was Googling for it, and I was like, oh, I can't watch it.
Fun fact, I was telling my boyfriend that Corey was reading this. My boyfriend makes short films and horror films, and they currently have a horror film on the festival circuit. And I was like, oh, have you heard of this one then? Like, it was just made. Corey can't even watch it. And he was like, no, I haven't. But the interesting fact about Stephen King is that if you go to his website, you could buy the rights to any of his work for $1.
What?
As long as it's not something that, like, makes you money. But you could buy the rights to, like, make a film, which is probably why Willa.
Right, that's really interesting.
If it's a good story, you could just be like, I'm gonna make it, and you could get the rights for $1.
That's
At least
very interesting.
That's the way it was when he
Right,
had
right.
looked into it before, but yeah.
That's cool.
Which is probably why there's so many Stephen King things out there.
Probably.
But,
Alright, so that was all the challenges. The bonus challenge was to read 7 books.
I don't know. I feel like I read 7 books, but like not part of the challenges. Because I read like other graphic novels and like other library books throughout the week.
You can say you win then. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Maybe.
I read 8 books.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
The last one I read was another Stephen King, which was not the plan. It was Rose Madder, which I had never even heard of.
Look at this cover. Wow.
But it was really good.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's about like, it's a domestic abuse story, which isn't great. But the woman escapes and then buys this painting. She exchanges her engagement ring for a painting, and this painting, like, she kind of like starts turning into the woman in the painting.
Oh.
It was pretty good. I quite enjoyed it. It's very violent and adult, obviously, but yeah.
What year was it from?
I don't know, what year was it from?
He's just been writing for so many years.
He has
Sometimes
so
it's
many
like-
books. 1995.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
all right.
I read 2 other books, but again, they didn't really count. And I don't think they really counted because I finished them.
Right.
I didn't like
Start
start them and finish them, but I had a library book I had to get back. So when we went to our read-in, I was reading something not even part of the readathon, but I I have to finish this before we leave the library so I could leave it at the library because it was overdue already. And then I was reading Sorcery of Thorns, which does have a purple cover, but I was finishing the audiobook for our book chat, so.
Yep.
Continue.
Yeah, I really like this. I'm excited to do it again next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really fun readathon.
Yeah.
If you guys participated, let us know how you did. Did you read 7 books? It's okay if you didn't.
Yeah.
Let us know how many you got through. And if you like this video, please give a big thumbs up and subscribe for more. Happy reading, and thanks for being awesome.
Bye.
Bye.